Hi friends, welcome back to the Rogue Educator, where we talk about all things education and story. Today we're going to be talking about 10 ways to get more story in your life. But before we get started, I just thought it would be appropriate to wear today. You can't really see it, but this is the t-shirt that I earned for winning NaNoWriMo this last November. For those of you who don't know, NaNoWriMo, or National Novel Writing Month, is a challenge every November to write 50,000 words in 30 days. And of course, don't worry, you don't need to write 50,000 words in 30 days to get more story in your life. So today, I just want to share a few ways to get more story in your life without, sacrificing or investing in an entire month. These are just casual ways to fit in and around your daily life. So let's jump in. All right, my first tip, and this kind of overarches all the other tips, is to put your phone away. When you are going to spend some time getting immersed in story, really let yourself do it. So either put your phone on silent or put it on the other side of the room, on vibrate or on a low sound, so that it's not just sitting in your lap asking you to multitask while you're watching TV or listening to an audiobook or things like that. So tip number 1, put your phone away. Tip number 2 is allow yourself some time to binge. Let yourself watch more than one episode or read more than one chapter or listen to more than one chapter so that you can really get into the story, and it'll get you excited to pick it up again next time. So tip number 2, allow yourself the time and opportunity to binge. Tip number 3 is if you are feeling kind of stuck or in a rut, or you're not super into a show that you had been watching, so you're just not sitting down to get lost in it anymore, try a new show. Try something maybe in a genre that you've never tried before, or something in a similar genre, but a show you've never seen. So tip number 3, try a new show. And similarly, tip number 4, where'd it go? There. 4 is to try a new medium. So for me, I really lost my love of reading for a while, like reading physical books, and I wasn't sure why that was. But in the interim, I started listening to audiobooks more, and I invested in a Kindle. So I tried listening, which I love. I really take in the information best, and my imagination is most engaged, I guess, when I'm listening to a story. And the Kindle was helpful because it was like reading on a computer, which I don't have trouble doing. So come to find out, I went to the eye doctor and actually needed some reading glasses, which bumped up my reading physical books again, like overnight. It made like such a big difference. So I guess that's an extra little tip. Tip 4.5, get your eyesight checked if you haven't in a while, and maybe you just need some glasses. But tip number 4 is try a new medium. So maybe an audiobook or a Kindle, or maybe the movie adaptation of a book that you've been wanting to read. Start with the movie, enjoy the story, and then maybe you'll feel more excited to pick up the book. All right, tip number 5 is to set aside time and maybe step away from your house. So for me, this means going to see a movie in the theater. I don't go very often. My dad has a movie club membership, which is pretty fantastic, but he's retired and doesn't have young kids. So anyway, for me, I probably go to the theater like 2, maybe 3 times a year, not very often. And it also sometimes means taking myself to see like a stage production of a story. So when I was pregnant with my oldest, I went on our first, I like to call mother-daughter date, and essentially I was by myself, but I took myself to see Phantom of the Opera because I love it. And when I'm in the theater, either a stage theater or a movie theater, I have to put my phone away. It's rude if I have it out, and I am conscious of that. So I put it on vibrate, I put it in my pocket, and then I don't have to worry about looking at it or feeling like I need to check it every 2 seconds. So that was tip number 5. Set aside the time and step away from your house, if you can. Tip number 6 is to rally your community. So for me, this started when my husband and I first got married. We started watching Castle, and we were watching Mythbusters, and then we watched Psych, and we now have a whole slew of shows that are a common experience for us. And we reminisce frequently about how much we enjoyed the time together and also the time getting to know these characters and their stories. So rally your community. That might be a partner or a spouse, or it might be a group of friends. This is something new that I'm trying right now because I miss that community aspect of watching TV on a certain time or a certain day of the week at a certain time that we've sort of lost with the streaming situation, which, don't get me wrong, streaming's great. But I have started a TV club with a bunch of my girlfriends, and we picked a show to watch, and we're just going to gather once a week for 2 hours and watch 2 episodes together and hang out a little bit, and then we'll meet again the following week. And that's a way that we can get lost in a story together. So tip number 6 is rally your community. Okay, yes, I am all mixed up on my numbers. Pro tip, if you're making lists like this, it helps to put numbers next to the items on your list. So anyway, that was tip number 7. Tip number 8 is to use story to unwind at the end of the day. Now, ideally, the best way to unwind is screen-free, as research tells us. So maybe use your Kindle or put your headphones in and listen to an audiobook, or just pick up a physical book and allow yourself the time to read for 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. And that will not only help you unwind, but it will let you get into the story enough that you'll be excited to pick it up again the following night. So tip number 8, use story at the end of the day to unwind. All right, tip number 9 is to journal. Find a cute notebook or a handsome one, and just give yourself some time, either first thing in the morning or, in the middle of the day at lunch as a little break, to journal about your own story and to process through the story that you are living and that is happening to you each day. It can be really therapeutic, and who knows, if you decide you like writing, then maybe you will start writing your own stories and take on the NaNoWriMo challenge yourself. So tip number 9 is journal to process through your own story. And lastly, tip number 10 is if you have a family, if you have kids, join your kids. There are some great kids TV programming on Netflix and Hulu and all the streaming services. And now obviously we have Disney Plus. So I know sometimes it's important to turn on the TV so that you can have a minute to yourself to get something done or just relax. But every now and then I encourage you to sit down on the couch with your kids and get lost in whatever story they're really into. Right now, my kids are super into PJ Masks and Doc McStuffins and Magic School Bus and the Octonauts. So those are the stories that we all know together as a family, and it helps us build some community. It allows me some time to relax, but also spend some time with my kids. And the other way to join your kids in getting lost in a story is to read aloud. Even if your kids are old enough to read on their own, I don't think you're ever too old to enjoy being read aloud to, as evidenced by the fact that I listen to audiobooks all the time. So pick up a book that is age appropriate for your kiddos, and you guys can enjoy the story together. So those are my 10 ways to integrate more story into your life. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks. Hey, it's me again. So I wasn't mixed up on my numbers. I'm just a little bit crazy. So next time, noted. Number my list. So the last thing, the actual number 10, for those of you who are counting, is to pair story with a mundane task. So you might put in headphones and listen to an audiobook, or turn on your laptop and watch a TV show while you are folding laundry or doing the dishes or driving in the car. If you're driving in the car, you probably ought to just be listening to an audiobook, But for laundry and dishes, you can feel free to watch some TV to get some story in your life. So tip number 10, pair a good story with a mundane task. All right, that's it. I'm done. I'll see you in my next video.